sheltering displaced people. According to the Al Ahli Baptist Hospital, the death included 6 women and 5 children. Among them were 2 parents and their daughter, another 2 parents and their 2 children, and a man and his wife, a casualty list showed. As of now, Israel have killed about 45,000 Palestinians since October 7 last year, but more than half of the dead were women, also children.
بقينا نايمين الساعة 12 بالليل صحينا على الهواء. أنا ما صحيتش على فوق الردم، ما صحيتش على حاجة. لقيت روحي مرتي روحي وبنتي قلبي، لقيتهم كلهم مرتي كل راسها وجمجمتها مبينة، بنتي مصارينها رايحين، بنت مرتي في الشهر الثالث حامل، في الشهر الثالث.
A separate strike hit civil defense workers in the Nusrat urban refugee camp while they were delivering humanitarian aid to displaced Palestinians.
At least 3 civil defense workers were killed as Israeli forces continued to pound Gaza on Sunday. A strike hit a work point for Gaza Civil Defense Agency in the urban Nusrat refugee camp. Al-Auda Hospital said among those killed was the head of the agency in Nusrat. According to Al-Aqsa Martyrs Hospital, the Civil Defense is Gaza's main rescue agency and operates under the Hamas-run government.
مدى عمل إنساني زي أي دولة في العالم، إحنا ليش مستهدفين ما نعرفش، حتى إحنا إمكانياتنا مش موجودة، يعني حتى الآن في شهداء هدول الشباب لسه استشهدوا طول امبارح شغالين، يعني والصبح كانوا شغالين، يعني برو شغالين بس لأجل إن إحنا نطلع الشهداء والأطفال تحت الركاب.
And in somewhat related news, Indonesian Defense Minister Syafri Syamsuddin briefed the second batch of 25 military healthcare workers headed to Gaza for a humanitarian mission.
The team is set to depart from Denpasar, Bali to Abu Dhabi today.
Indonesian Defense Minister Syafri Syamsuddin have briefed 25 Indonesian military healthcare workers who will be deployed to Gaza, Palestine. This is the second wave of personnel being sent following the earlier dispatch of 40 healthcare workers. The team will depart on December the 16th, traveling from Denpasar, Bali to Abu Dhabi. Minister Syamsuddin reminded the healthcare workers that the mission is not just an individual or unit responsibility, but a duty to the nation. He emphasized the importance of strong resolve, sincerity, discipline, and providing the best care while prioritizing safety. He also highlighted the need for unity, hard work, and maintaining the good name of the Indonesian military and the country.
Now moving on to the next story. Further, 30 Indonesians have returned home from Syria.
The repatriation on Sunday was the second in a series of evacuations.
30 migrant workers have been evacuated from Syria. They arrived at Soekarno-Hatta Airport on Sunday. The workers, who come from various regions in Java and other islands, were mostly women. One of them told reporters that the situation in Syria remains tense, with explosions often heard near her place in Damascus.
Selama kerja di sini itu nggak aman. Seperti apa bu kondisi nggak aman kondisinya ya dador terus tembak menembak bom gitu itu di pinggir rumah dekat rumah sampai kaca itu pecah rumah itu gimana naik rumah kata majikan sana ini udah biasa kan udah biasa ini mah kayak hapla katanya tahun baru apa kata saya mau mengabarkan para Indonesia katanya nggak ada apa-apa orang presiden masalah presiden kata saya nggak mau tahu yang penting para Indonesia harus mengabarkan.
The director for the Protection of Indonesian Nationals at the Foreign Ministry, Judan Nugraha, stated that the repatriation was the second in a series of evacuations. Immigration officials in Syria have counted about 1,100 Indonesians remaining in the country, though some are refusing to leave.
Jadi melalui informasi kepada WNI yang sudah kita evakuasi tadi, termasuk Bu Ais juga sudah menyampaikan informasi masih ada beberapa PMI kita di sana yang coba kita kontak untuk bisa evakuasi. Nah, menurut rencana gelombang ketiga evakuasi akan segera kita lakukan juga. Ada sekitar 82 WNI yang sudah menyampaikan kesediaan untuk dievakuasi.
The next round of evacuation has been scheduled, mainly to bring home students. The Foreign Ministry is also continuing to urge all nations to evacuate, citing security concerns. CTJ contributor reporting from Tangerang, Banten.
And speaking of repatriation, the 5 remaining members of the Bali 9 have been transferred to their home country of Australia.
Now, the transfer was not treated as clemency and or pardon. Scott Anthony Rush, Matthew James Norman, Si Yi Shin, Michael William Zugaj, and Martin Eric Stevens departed Bali on Sunday for Darwin. Coordinating Minister for Law, Human Rights, Immigration, and Corrections, Yusnil Iza Mahendra, has stressed that the 5 will remain convicts.
Australian Home Minister Tony Burke had previously signed the practical arrangement for the transfer on Thursday. The Australian side has committed to continue providing updates on the convicts following the transfer. So, related or regarding to this situations at the moment, that we know that Indonesia as a country, you receive a few backlash and because there's a lot of assumption regarding to this, why there's a release about the prisoner related to drugs, because it's a very big case. But according to the Antara News, of course, Indonesia also asked for access to monitor the prisoners after they return to their home country. So basically, this is under the control. But however, if the Australian government grants them pardon, amnesty, or remission after the transfer, Indonesia will respect its decision. And also, Indonesia emphasized that people involved in narcotics cases are banned for life from entering the country.
Correct. And in regards to this, it was actually stressed by the Australian government, a source that told the Sydney Herald that, okay, basically when they arrived, you saw the scenes there. There was no actual fanfare or greeting, not even their family members. This was actually planned by the government. For Australia, the loved ones were aware of their imminent return, but they could not be there to greet them. Instead, as you can see, the men were whisked on a bus. They were transported to the Howard Springs facility. It was previously used as a quarantine hub during COVID. Now there, they will spend a short period of time to continue their rehabilitation for an undisclosed amount of time before they're allowed to reunite with their families. As you mentioned, they will not be permitted to enter Indonesia in the future. But the lack of fanfare is actually understood to be a sign of respect to President Subianto, who made the final decision for the men to be freed. He said this was about compassion. It was not a transaction. It was no form of prisoner exchange or anything of that sort. Now, Indonesia had shared a draft proposal. This actually took some time for the return of the 5 prisoners earlier in the month. The draft terms included banning the 5 from returning to the country, regulations on the legal basis for the transfer, and a requirement that Australia respect the decision of the Indonesian court. It said Indonesia will respect any decision taken by Australia when the prisoners return home, included, as you mentioned, if they were granted a pardon. Now, this was a very extreme case. If you remember, if some of you don't remember, this is a long time ago, almost 2 decades. The men of there were 9 people arrested in 2005. They were trying to smuggle more than 8 kilograms of heroin out of the Indonesian resort island of Bali. Now, since then, the 2 of the members of the Bali 9, they were deemed the ringleaders, Andrew Chan and Miran Sukumaran. They were executed in 2015.
Yep.
Now, since then, one of the women in the group, the only woman in the group, Renee Lawrence, was released in 2018, and another group member, Tan Duk Tan Nguyen, died of cancer that same year. So this was basically, again, an act of compassion from the Indonesian government, but also the Indonesian government has also stressed that their hard line on narcotics and no exceptions to that still remains the same regardless of this taking place. Now, this was not obviously the only case, because recently there was also another case of a repatriation from the Philippines.
Right. We were talking about the Filipino death row convict May Jane Veloso has been relocated from Yogyakarta to Jakarta.
Yeah, we've been following the story, and obviously this move on Sunday was part of her transfer to the Philippines.
Mary Jane. Agak mundur yuk biar
Udah ya?
Betul Pak. Benar Pak.
Makasih banyak.
Mary Jane.
Doanya.
Benar Pak.
Tuhan memberkati semua.
Mary Jane, ada pesan untuk Romo Kiser?
Ya, Romo Kiser bilang dia jaga kesehatan ya.
Mary Jane happy nggak? Happy nggak mau
Ya, bahagia banget.
Oke.
Oke ya. Oke, terima kasih teman-teman ya.
And there you see an emotional Mary Jane Veloso leaving the prison where she had been held for the past 15 years. It was 15 minutes to 11 p.m. local time, headed for Jakarta via land routes, and obviously greeted warmly by the journalists that were interviewing her. She previously described her mood to a local reporter as happy while waiting for her relocation.
And the move to Jakarta was intended to ease the administrative process for her return to the Philippines.
Mary Jane happy nggak? Ini kami atas perintah pimpinan Jakarta Jenderal Pemasyarakatan akan melaksanakan penjemputan untuk warga kita yang sementara menjalani di lapas wanita perempuan Yogyakarta ini atas nama Mary Jane untuk dibawa ke Jakarta malam ini.
Perjalanan darat atau
Kami perjalanan darat karena rencananya besok secepat mungkin kami harus juga membuat laporan dan melengkapi dokumen pendukung dari persiapan untuk kembali ke Jakarta, ke negaranya di Filipina.
And just like in the case of the remaining members of the Bali Nine, again, this is no short time in prison, 19 years and 15 years, as mentioned by Anthony Albanese in regards to the Australians. He said that these Australians served more than 19 years in prison in Indonesia. It was time for them to come home. And in the case of Mary Jane Veloso, there were petitions to plead for her return, partly due to the fact that she was not a ringleader, so to speak.
Yeah.
She was more of a drug mule, and she was the one that was caught with the drugs. So again, I'm sure that was taken into consideration before her actual repatriation. So again, we will keep you updated and apprised as to further details in regards to the return home for Mary Jane Veloso. In the meantime, though, we're going to take our first short break here from the program, but we have plenty more news updates from Indonesia when we return here on the C Morning Show. Please do stay tuned.
What's up, you guys, and welcome back to the channel. My name is Christian Hansen. In this video, we will be exploring a new video coming up tonight, so I have to make sure everything is ready, but this has been a great trip.
Sudah dipastikan itu belum ada pengobatan yang bisa mengobati DM1. Pernah berpikir untuk mengakhiri hidup aku sendiri, karena waktu itu aku merasa sendiri, sama sekali nggak ada yang bisa aku ajak bicara.
Pada saat yang bersamaan, aku sama papa konsumsi sebuah suplemen, dan papa waktu itu mulai drop beberapa kali masuk ke rumah sakit. Vitiligo ini sebenarnya bukan kulit yang perlu disembuhkan, tapi mentalnya yang perlu dikuatkan.
What's happening now?
President Prabowo Subianto and Vice President Gibran Rakabuming Raka that took their oaths of office at the Parliament building earlier today.
Exclusive interviews and all the latest in entertainment.
We don't talk only about the money, but we talk about the timing.
Spice up your afternoon with a variety of up-to-date information.
Buenos Aires, Argentina, where Liam Payne passed away on Thursday.
Don't miss it for 3-hour news show every day at 5 p.m.
I'm starting my journey old style in this beautiful traditional Felucca sailboat. There's no wind to sail this time, Abea. Hello. Hi. When I found these guys, it's like Noah's Ark back here.
Since I was young, I had an intense desire to discover the world around me. This is my first time driving in South America. That hasn't changed, just the level of adventure. Now, every journey has a purpose. And each time I venture out to explore new destinations around the globe. Yeah. That's a biggie under there. I am following my travel quest.
I'm Eric Hansen. When I see a trail, I see more than a path from point A to point B. A good trail is the ultimate opportunity to explore, to discover new landscapes, and to challenge myself. When I don't have a pack on my back, I'm thinking about my next big adventure, because my mission is simple. My mission is to discover the world's most epic trails.
Well, folks, welcome back to the C Morning Show. Now it is time for news around Indonesia. An outpouring